You're watching Newsday TV. Thanks for joining us. I'm Ken Buffa. Listen, we're all talking about it. Yes, that was a 4.8 magnitude earthquake that shook Long Island this morning. This is video of the earthquake happening in New Jersey. But here in New York, Governor Kathy Hochul says the state is assessing bridges and other infrastructure. This earthquake even surprised experts. Jamie Stewart has it covered.
We felt the building move. We look at each other and say, did this really happen?
It most certainly did. According to the U.S. Geological Survey, a 4.8 magnitude earthquake shook the metropolitan area Friday morning.
For about a 10-minute period after, our 911 system did receive an influx of calls, probably over 200. Most of them were just basically questioning whether there was, in fact, an earthquake.
Police officials, as well as both county executives, say no serious injuries or major damage have been reported due to the quake, which occurred at 10:23 a.m. and lasted between 10 and 20 seconds. Long Island residents, however, were shaken and shocked.
All of a sudden, it felt like the floor was moving, just vibrating, and I don't know that I've ever felt an earthquake before.
I was on a call, and it felt like somebody dropped something on the roof. The whole house shook.
The shaking stirred memories of the last quake to hit the East Coast back in 2011. According to Hofstra University geology expert Dr. Brett Bennington, the size and magnitude of this quake was not out of the ordinary.
The biggest earthquakes that we would typically get in this part of the world would be in the low fives. So I think it was a pretty typical earthquake for the Northeast.
But even an expert couldn't believe what he was seeing and feeling Friday morning. Since we're talking scales, on a scale of 1 to 10, how surprised were you this morning?
A 10. I was pretty surprised. No one in this part of the world wakes up in the morning and thinks, oh, maybe we'll experience an earthquake today.
For Newsday TV, I'm Jamie Stewart.
So how frequent are quakes on Long Island? Well, meteorologist Rich Van Olin breaks down the history. All right, well, certainly quite a wild morning with the 4.8 magnitude earthquake that shook us here around 10:23 on Friday morning. The actual epicenter near central western New Jersey, so it was about 80 miles away, but close enough that we certainly felt the effects here. The last real significant one that we had felt here across Long Island, going back to remember this one, August of 2011, right before Hurricane Irene hit. That was a 5.8, but that was in Virginia, further away, but still close enough that we felt the effects there. Have to go back to 1884 for the strongest, most significant earthquake, Far Rockaway, Coney Island area, close by, 5.5, that really shook things up way back in the day. But we've had a lot of little earthquakes that we may not have felt so much, particularly south of the Hamptons. Southampton, there's one in the ocean, a little fault out there that typically causes the weaker earthquakes. And we also had one after 9/11, and again, another one going back to Southampton. So they do occur. It's more frequent than you think, but they're very weak. You hardly feel them. But the one we had Friday morning, you certainly felt, and that was one of the most significant ones we've seen in quite some time. We'll have much more on this coming up. Now, to read more about the history of quakes on Long Island, go to Newsday.com, click Get More, fill the Newsday TV video box. And multiple shots were fired during a police chase that started in Bohemia and ended in Bay Shore.
This suspect struck an officer with his car and fired at police.
Now here's video from the scene last night. Police say Brandon Scaling ran from officers while they were trying to arrest him. He allegedly hit an officer with his minivan, which started the chase. It ended with a 33-year-old crashing into a tree. 5 officers were taken to the hospital. The Middle Island man is facing drug and weapon charges. And the governor is warning people traveling upstate for the eclipse about heavy snow and possible flooding on the roads. Now here's the path of the eclipse. You can see it here. The full eclipse will pass through Texas and through upstate New York. Makes sense. And you'll see Long Island is getting about 80% of the show. Now Hochul says hundreds of thousands of people are expected to visit areas upstate. So what can Long Islanders expect to actually see on Monday? Drew Scott has more.
Monday afternoon, the sun and moon are going to put on a show of a lifetime. For Long Islanders, we will see a near-total eclipse. Here at the Vanderbilt Planetarium, Aaron Bennett says the WOW event will become a learning experience.
Here on Long Island, we'll be under the part of the shadow which we call the penumbra, the lighter part. So we'll see the sky darken a little bit during the eclipse. You'll see shadows get a little bit sharper.
Vanderbilt's Friday eclipse show was sold out, but what a preview school-age youngsters and parents got. They soaked up all the information.
Here you might notice the temperature drop by a couple of degrees. You might feel a little bit of a chill. The sky will also darken slightly.
For us in Nassau and Suffolk, you're going to see about 90% of the eclipse. If you want to see a total eclipse between 2 and 4 p.m. on Monday, you'll have to travel as far north as Burlington, Vermont, or maybe shuffle off to Buffalo, New York. Parents and kids say they're looking forward to the rare celestial event. I spoke to a couple of skywatchers who came all the way from New Jersey to visit the Vanderbilt.
Hope for the best. Hopefully it's not a cloudy day, hazy day.
How dark is it when the moon's covering the sun compared to today?
If clouds don't obscure your view on Monday, the warning is do not look directly at the sun. It can damage your eyes permanently. Use ISO-approved eclipse glasses. Here's the official mark. Or try this home remedy.
You can also make your own projector at home using a piece of paper and poking a hole in it. That's called a pinhole projector. Again, you can't look through that at the sun, but it will project an image onto a surface of the eclipse.
NASA estimates 31 million Americans are in the narrow path to witness a total eclipse. The next chance we'll have to see one isn't for another 2 decades. Drew Scott for NewsdayTV.
Long Island football player who died during a game is being honored. A flag-raising ceremony was held at St. Charles Hospital for Thomas Cutinella. The Shoreham-Wading River football player died from a traumatic brain injury 10 years ago. He saved several lives by donating his organs.
When Thomas was 16 years old, he decided after he got his permit test that he wanted to be an organ donor. And 3 months later, due to an unfortunate accident on a football field, the parents had carried out those wishes of Thomas or donating all of his organs.
Now the 54 on the flag represents the number on his football jersey. And not even an earthquake could help the Yanks win on opening day against the Blue Jays, but fans are still happy to be back at the stadium.
Hey, let's go Yankees!
Long Island's Marcus Stroman called opening day a dream come true and threw 6 scoreless innings. But the final score of the game was 3-0. The team faces the Blue Jays again tomorrow night. A lacrosse goalie is helping lead her Cold Spring Harbor team. Carissa Kelman has the story you'll see only in Newsday.
Ball low!
In 3rd grade, I first tried on the helmet at practice, and I fell in love.
Junior keeper Maya Soskin has been in the net for Cold Spring Harbor since she was in 8th grade.
If I didn't have that first year in 8th grade, I wouldn't be where I am today.
Improvement and confidence came quickly to Soskin, who tied a New York State record the following year.
I was a freshman. We were at the New York State semifinals in Cortland. Had 21 saves that day.
She was excellent. Like, for her to get to that game as a freshman and play that well, I thought was just inspirational.
I'm just excited that I was able to do that for my team.
For a program that's won 10 county titles, Cold Spring Harbor has had a myriad of talented goalkeepers. But what sets Soskin apart is not what you can see, but what you can hear.
Good D! Oh, low!
If she's not vocal or not communicating, then that something's wrong, because she is the loudest person on our entire team.
Oh, good shot. Guys, she's a freshman. Round of applause.
She's always the one to talk. She always brings the team up as a whole. I always have so much confidence. We all do in Maya.
From Cold Spring Harbor, Carissa Kelman, Newsday TV.
Now to read more about the athlete and Newsday's top 100 girls lacrosse players, go to Newsday.com, click Get More, below the Newsday TV video box.
Feed Me is brought to you by PC Richard & Son.
A West Hampton Beach hotspot is serving up cocktails and coffee. Maria Elena Martinez has today's Feed Me TV.
I am here today with Candace and Shelly at One Trick Pony in West Hampton. They do coffee by day and cocktails by night.
We really wanted to design a place that transitioned from daytime to nighttime. Okay. So you come in, it feels like a cozy place to work or grab a cup of coffee, and then at night you'd come back and the lights would dim and you'd ease into a nice like cocktail or glass of wine.
The coffee shop and what we are at the core lives in all worlds.
In all formats.
So we really are very proud of our espresso martini, among other things.
And our matcha margarita.
Here are some of our most popular breakfast items.
The eggs are so good and buttery. So good.
You know, it's great for when you come visit us at the bar the night before, you come the next day, it's the whole thing.
Tell me a little bit about your coffee chops.
We roast locally, actually, with in Southold with Nofo Roasting Company.
Oh, okay.
Who was the former owner of this space. So they, aside from coffee shops, have a separate roastery.
So this is a woman-owned business, and that is important and huge and instrumental in moving this country along. So talk to me a little bit about, exactly.
It was really important for us when we bought this coffee shop from Ginny Lee. She's also in the career space, so are we. It was really important to foster a relationship with a female-owned business. All of our graphic design is also a queer and women-owned business. All of our like florals, a lot of our baked goods are also
the woman who makes the wallpaper.
Yeah.
A lot of the artists on the wall, the staff.
The only thing that men worked on in this space was the hard construction.
Only because we couldn't.
I will use them.
We just kept throwing around the notion that like, if you're going to do something, lean in and do one thing right. If we only nail coffee, then let it be that we nailed coffee to the best of its ability. But then the tongue-in-cheek part there is that we actually have a lot of tricks.
Now for more on One Trick Pony, go to Newsday.com, click Get More, below the Newsday TV video box. Now let's take a look at your hopefully non-earthquake Long Island weather. And it's going to be a gorgeous one today and tomorrow. So tonight, as you can see, temps will drop to about the high 30s, but tomorrow, as long as there's no earthquakes, it's going to be a really nice day. You can see that the temps are near 50s. We do have clouds overhead, but Saturday and both Sunday look awesome. Take a look at the 7-day.
Long Island weather is brought to you by Fire Island Ferries.
You're watching Newsday TV. I'm Ken Buffa. Let's hope for a shakeless weekend.